Right, it's Dan from the Mike James Rock Show, and I've got Dan. So it's Dan and Dan.
Here we are. Hello.
How you doing?
Very well.
I don't think we've caught up with you properly since the Earthbound tour.
No, yeah, no, definitely.
That's the album, not the fact that you were Earthbound.
I know what you mean.
So you guys are currently still getting the new one out there.
Yep.
And as far as I could tell, it broke the internet a couple of times when it got released.
Yeah.
You guys did a very, very brave thing with it. Do you mind me talking about that?
No, you carry on. I know exactly what you're going to say. So
you got a little bit of feedback.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, definitely. So I suppose to cut a long story short, we had a lot of comments that came through from our YouTube predominantly around production and like an oddity on the sound quality, and it was based around, I mean, we figured it out in the end, and it was based around a compression of our cymbals. Okay. And also we feel that it was probably coupled with the fact that it was the first time we've ever put electronics in our music, which
That's
obviously
fair.
Was a bit new for a lot of people's ears. And at that moment as well, what we basically tried to make sure is that every single hit we had on cymbals were cutting through as loud as they possibly could. Thus being said, we compressed it when it went onto YouTube, and it had a bit of a meltdown. As YouTube generally does, it completely butchers any kind of sound quality, which then led to like I suppose a hiss, or a lot of people said it was on the vocals, but it was actually just in the background. So yeah, we listen to our fans. It's what we do best, I think, and they're the people that have got to put up with it and listen to it.
It's very true.
So if they don't think something's right, they know best, you know. And as much as we were all kind of sat there like, oh, I don't know if I can hear it or not, and if they're saying something that really needs to be brought to our attention, then we'll sort it out. So yeah, we took it off, remixed the whole record, and then put it back on. So. Well,
you definitely did the right thing, because there was a chance that it could have become the next In Anger. You know?
Hopefully not that bad, but yeah, I appreciate it. You know, at the end of the day, you've got to listen to the people that are going to buy your record and promote it to other people, and if they're having something that is kind of diminishing their listening quality, then you may as well sort it out. It's not.
Well, it's an interesting thing, because to you it seems like quite a natural decision to make, whereas quite a few, because we touch base with a lot of different agencies, a lot of different people like us, and it went down incredibly well, at least industry-wise, that you guys were prepared to listen to the crowd and take the hit on numbers and not worry about that sort of stuff so much.
I mean, we've been a band for 12 years, you know. At the end of the day, we know the game, you know. We know the fact that essentially we're going to gain those views back, you know, and people are going to listen to it more if they're enjoying it, you know. So if they're enjoying that sound, yeah, I think it was on something crazy like 400,000 views or something. I don't know, I can't remember what it was on, but I remember taking it down, and honestly, it wasn't even a second thought. Like for us, our label were a little bit concerned, but it's not a problem, you know. At the end of the day, as I said, it's going to be up there for forever. So. Yeah. Or forever, as long as the internet lasts, you know, and so for us, if it made absolute sense to do it, and you know, on the back of that, without sounding like it was a business move, I mean, it gained us a lot of good feedback that we're kind of living by our sword of supporting our fans, listening to our fans, and that's what we're all about. So. Yeah. It would have been a bit weird if we hadn't, you know, and that's our ethos about everything in our band. So.
I was going to say that really does show through, especially in the last couple of years, because we, like I say, we followed you guys from quite a few years ago when we were charging another member's phone in the download press area, and like some of the stuff that you do is just almost the opposite of what you expect. So I understand that you jumped off the side of the stage at Download and sort of gave yourself to 90,000 fans potentially for selfies and things like that, which is not strictly necessarily the done thing. And you guys have kind of set this tone with that sort of stuff, because I remember, if you don't mind me mentioning it, the slam dunk where the performance didn't quite go as well. Yeah. So you told from stage everybody where you would be.
Yeah.
I remember walking past, getting my selfie, of course, walking past, and then like 2 hours later coming back out of press because I was done with the interviews, and you were still there. I mean, don't get me wrong, you looked a little bit more tired.
Yeah, I'm sure I did.
But you were throwing it off every time like a camera was raised, so that the fans actually got the picture they wanted, not you looking shattered and stuff like that.
I think it's one of those things, you know. I think for us it's always been something that we've promoted massively. It's not a done thing, but it's also not necessarily needed to be a done thing, you know. We just took it upon ourselves to not do the meet and greets, not do the VIP stuff, but some bands don't do that, and some bands find it incredibly anxious to be around that many people and stuff. And don't get me wrong, it's getting more and more crazy and more time consuming, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's my job at the end of the day. Like, these are the people that pay to come and see us, and extortionate amount of money in merch and whatever. Like, you know, they pay money. So at the end of the day, a live show isn't, I don't see equal worth in a live show to the amount that they give us, and give us the ability to be able to do this as a career. So, you know, if it's 2 hours, 5 hours out of, or 4, you know, 20 minutes out of my day, it doesn't really make much difference to me, really, as long as they're happy about it. Like, I don't get nervous about it. It doesn't really affect me. So, and the more and more you do it, it's like almost like a self-perpetuating thing, is that actually it diminishes the hysteria behind it, because if you didn't do it and you suddenly went out, it creates this mass of, oh my god, it's an unattainable person. But if you keep doing it over and over again, fans become more like friends than fans, and it loses that, and it becomes more of a catch-up than it does a, you know, thousands of people, but it becomes more of a elongated catch-up than anything else, you know.
Yeah, because I mean, I understand just from seeing the way it's been regarded is the anti-meet and greet sort of thing that you guys do. Because obviously we talk to bands about all the different stuff, and there's a sliding scale of how people feel about the extracurricular, almost money-making stuff.
Absolutely,
And for me, I mean, I have no problem with paid meet and greets, providing that the payment is equatable to the experience that you're getting.
That's what a lot of people say, man. Like, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Fans pay it. I mean, my biggest objection is to fans paying for time and air and an opportunity to meet someone. To me, that's not something that I would ever back, and I wouldn't back a band that does it. You know, to me, that's an exploitation. It's exploiting people that that love your band so much that you only give them one opportunity to be able to actually face to face tell you that, and you charge them money for it. To me, something sits wrong. There's different stories about people doing things like, you know, sound checks or exclusive acoustic performances or stuff like that. You know, something tangible where you're actually paying for a service or something. But to meet someone for 10 minutes, shake their hands and get a photo with them, I mean, you know, we can do it. Like, and this whole ethos behind bands getting too big to be able to do that, it's a load of crap, man. Like, at the end of the day, as I said to you, it's this kind of, it's its own kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. If you see fans and you meet fans, the hysteria becomes less. So actually, you're doing yourself all more of a disservice, because it makes those interactions far more awkward and less personable and less just chatty, you know. So
I think it's great because you know, you were quite outspoken about it, so people understand the reasons why. And, you know, you hear, because obviously we're connected to our local scene, and you see the effect on bands that are clearly using you guys as inspiration, where they're not just bolting as soon as they've played, they're staying around to talk to people, which is something that used to happen a lot more, at least from our perspective, than it does now. So to have people out there going, no, come on, don't just run away to the dressing room, or
mate, at the end of the day as well, when you're a younger band, like, that's the moment where you shine. That's your business. Like, and I'm not by any means, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great business tactic. You know, you're, for one, you're going to be by your merch. People are around, they're hanging out, they want something signed. You know, it's not all, you know, martyrdom, and I'm sat there and, oh, woe is me for 5 hours. You know, it works, you know, and especially when you're a younger band, you learn what's good, what's bad, what you need to do better. You know, that's the moment where you're talking to the people that matter, as much as how we were talking about the YouTube thing. Like, it's a learning curve. Everything's learning, and if you're in a band and you've been a band like us for 12 years and you still don't think you're learning stuff, like, you shouldn't be doing it anymore, or you're incredibly arrogant. Like, we're always learning every single day, and the people that are going to tell you the most honest are the people that are stood in front of you looking at you going, well, that album was better, or that song was better, or I preferred your first album. And it's about finding that. You know, we've based a lot around especially around our songwriting for next albums, around what people think about our first albums and our second albums, you know.
Well, I wanted to slightly drill into that, because on I think it was our first interview with you, at that point in your career, you guys were quite dedicated to almost a sparse sound, everything replicatable. And obviously with the last album, you introduced something different. Do you mind me asking the thought process behind going down that line?
As I said, I think for us, it's about doing something new. I think it'd be very easy to get into a trap, again, as I said, of just going through the motions every record and churning out the same record. I think it was something that we'd never explored, ever, in our entirety of our career. We'd never really gone down the lines of electronics and that kind of side of things. And we really wanted to make Black Flame almost an album that well, not almost, I mean definitely was the first point of call, was making it an album you could listen to from the start to the finish as one body of work. Obviously every album you kind of want to hope that's the way, but you know, Earthbound had a lot more of a raw feel to it. It was a lot more of a live album, in its sense. We could play that record, you know, back to front, 5 dudes in a garage, and we could play that album. But I think with like Black Flame, we really wanted to focus a lot more on the kind of filling those venues that we want to, or are seemingly this tour succeeding to getting to, you know.
Fair.
And
we've seen the photos on social media. It's been insane.
It has been, mate. Honestly, for us, it's been insane. More than I could ever probably express on camera or on an interview. It's been an absolute privilege to be able to kind of go out and feel hype. You know, we've been a band for 12 years. It's very rare that you're going to have a hype, you know, and that's what it feels like. Europe just feels really strong at the moment for us, for Black Flame, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that's translated across. I mean, we're on the first day of the UK, and hopefully it's translated across. It seems like Black Flame's really connected with a lot of people in a really positive way. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's honestly about 3-4 albums at best I've been into you guys, maybe not the entire length of the band. And we actually have, because we like the albums as a whole, we generally have put them on the way back from festivals and gigs when we're driving home and stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I decided to do the reverse order of you guys the other day, which was mildly confusing.
Yeah, I bet it was. Yeah.
But no, it's been lovely to actually watch you guys progress over the time, and it's interesting because obviously a lot of people don't understand about having a sound that actually fills a bigger venue.
Yeah.
And that's, if your trajectory is working for you and you're doing it honestly, then you do actually have to have a sound that will fill
I
the
think
space.
So. I mean, it's a very different one. I'm hoping that Germany's a bit weird for us, because obviously we went from playing 400 caps to playing on this tour 1,1300 caps, which is just mind-blowing. But the UK is going to be quite an interesting one to talk to people about that have seen us before in these kind of style venues, you know, because it's nothing new to us playing, as weird as it sounds me saying it out loud, but it's nothing new for us playing 1,000 caps in the UK, certainly, especially off the back of Earthbound. That was what we're booked at, you know, and we're back in those kind of rooms, obviously selling them out this time. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what people think, because we're now playing to click track. We've got it all formulated. The whole set is just mapped. It's strong. It's a lot more like how it sounds on a record, more so than ever. We used to be quite a rock and roll kind of band, and see how it goes and just push through and play it 25 times faster than what is on record, and be knackered by the end of it. But this one just seems a lot more calculated, and as I said, it's more suited to the venues that we're playing. Like, it definitely feels right, you know? Yeah.
Are you raising the production values up as well, because you've got that reliability of how long stuff is, and you can do bespoke lighting?
I mean, I think definitely it's a lot more triggered into our music, because it's a lot easier. We had the opportunity, which is great, the last tour, because there was a huge disparity between actually the venues in Europe versus the venues in the UK. We couldn't have that production and pushed all the way through. So now it feels like a well-oiled machine, really. We've been doing the same production, we're pushing straight into the UK, feeling like we've been just this well-oiled machine, really. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be crazy. It's relentless in its nature. But yeah, it's a lot more powerful. Each of the kind of trigger points are a lot more powerful on this one, for sure. Okay,
so are you giving any thought to what happens when you get to that next stage of venue and next production level? Or
yeah, we're always thinking, you know, we're already talking about the next headliner, we're talking about where we go from this, but yeah, I mean, we're always thinking about how we can make sure that people feel like they got their money's worth, and whether that's production, whether that's venue size, whether that's, you know, ticket prices, bands we bring with us, whatever. It's always a thought process for us, really, of how we take it to that next level, for sure.
And you mentioned the bands. I mean, you've got quite an awesome lineup today, because
we do, yeah.
It kind of fits within a very loose bracket, but it's not 4 bands of the same sound.
Yeah, definitely.
Was it choices that you guys made directly on selecting them, or?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, we had a chance of a fair few bands, and I mean, it made absolute sense for us when 36 Crazy Fists were put on the table. I mean, when are you ever going to get an opportunity to play with a band that inspired your band to be a band, you know, along all those years ago, and that's a very rarity, you know, and a very rare option, and also a band that is still as current and can still draw numbers, you know. Trying to failing to harken back to the kind of business element of it, they draw numbers, you know, and they're still a great live band, you know, and so we're absolutely honoured to have them. And Crystal Lake we've toured with before.
They're just nuts. They're just so
they're out
good.
of control. Yeah, they're definitely out of control. And then Cane Hill are really cool guys. And it's
Imagine
been
keeping a bit more of a chilled vibe from what we know of them.
They kind of do, but live sets, no. Like they crush it. You know it's an amazing lineup to watch. Really, that everybody's got their own kind of fan base that comes with it. And as you said, it's kind of on this like melodic-y kind of metal bracket, but it's not carbon copies of every band playing. Even, you know, a band like 36, which are metalcore through and through, and it's got that nostalgic, awesome feel to it, and it's very different to kind of how we, you know, flying the flag for metalcore now, you know, in the modern day. So yeah, it's a great lineup. It's one of my favourite tours I've ever been on. All the guys are amazing, so yeah, it's really, really cool. It's a really good vibes tour.
Well, it's really good to like sort of hear that sort of enjoyment come out of it, because sometimes you worry about asking certain questions because you can just see the look and they're like no, don't mention them.
No,
please.
Don't be scared of asking any questions of this tour. That's for sure. No.
Well, I'm curious, because this is a headline one. For when you next do a support, do you have your eyes set on anybody because you've got the sort of ability to actually go off and say, no, we could support you well, we could do this for you? Is there anybody along those lines?
There's always bands that we'd love to support, but it's about what's right for us now, I think, as a career progression. You know, I think we've now sewn up the as I said before, the disparity between Europe and UK, which is a big thing for us. Is that it was always, yes, we were, you know, a golden carrot in the UK. We could draw 1,000 people, but Europe is back to like 400 people, and now it's a lot more kind of an even kilt. So our next one, you know, hopefully will be a bigger band than us, a lot bigger band than us, and we're trying to hit those bigger venues and take us to the next level. But as I said before, it's a kind of a calculated motion and making sure that we're at that kind of next level, you know.
So choosing like the right people to support on an America tour would be something that you consider, and an Australian one and stuff like that.
I mean, you know, for us, it is what it is, you know. US is an incredibly hard place to get to financially. We've been there. We went there in 2010. We know how expensive it is, and we wait for offers. We wait to see when we're not in a rush to go to the States. We'd love to, again, we'd love to kind of show the States how we progressed, but Australia's always on the cards. It's somewhere that we love playing, and it's been a while since we've been there. Obviously now we're going back to Russia to do our first headliner in Russia, which is really cool. Portugal, Spain, Iberian tour basically. So yeah, Japan is always on the cards. But yeah, it's really the world's our oyster at the moment when it comes to where we're hitting next, for sure. We're just trying to take Black Flame to as many people as possible, really.
I'm very happy about that fact. Everybody needs to listen to
I hope so. That'd be great.
Anyway, I'll wrap up there, because awesome. Everybody that can't be seen on the camera right now has been super patient with us, so thank you all. But yeah, no, it's been absolutely awesome chatting to you. And if you hear absurdly high-pitched screaming later, that's just me cheering,
Good.
So it's fine. Thanks very much.
No worries, thank you.
Thank you for watching my interview with Dan from Bury Tomorrow. We do have other interviews with him and other members of the band on our YouTube, so hit the like, subscribe and notification bell. Thank you very much.
Welcome to the My James Rock Show.